Mhm.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Tshego,
And I'm Amon.
and today we're talking about how to choose a church. And we realize that this topic is quite important, especially that we're looking at mentoring last week. A church is where you are spiritually fed. Therefore, as much as important who you choose to be your mentor, it's going to be very important who you choose to lead you spiritually.
Yes, I think it's one of the things that believers are ignorant about, really, to begin with. But one thing that I see is there is a thing that you call blessing by association or being cursed by association. And you see that, you begin to see that with Lot. With Lot was blessed. Lot was blessed because of Abraham.
Mhm.
And as Abraham's um, wealth multiplied, it spilled over to Lot. And it's the same with churches. You are blessed by association, by the virtue of the church you go to, and it goes the same. What I find interesting with believers is we are natural. We think differently when it comes to the non-spiritual things, but when we want to come to spiritual things, maybe we don't want to spiritualize things. Like a school, you choose a good school for your kids based on the pass rate. You look at information of the school, what do they believe in, what's their values, and you make a decision to take your child to that school based on that. Going even further, you look at their pass rate, you look at, and it's the same with
The
them.
extracurricular activities that
Yeah,
they have.
it's the same with when we are choosing. Like last time we talked about a mentor. It's the same thing that you're looking for in a mentor. It's the same thing you are looking for in a church. Number one, that I find that people really never, they are ignorant to find out about those things. It's an issue about doctrine. What do they really believe in terms of doctrine? And most of the times, people look at doctrine at a shallow level. But for me, I'm thinking when you are looking for a church, you need to go actually deeper. You need to actually know what's their belief on baptism, what's their belief on healing, what's their belief in these things. Because later on, when you're in the church, when you're now functioning, you don't want to get surprised. And for them, it's what they believe in, and you didn't actually inquire about it. I would say doctrine is very important. Vision is very important. So many times I've seen good people, good believers, who their heart is more of going evangelizing, and they get to a church where their heart is not evangelizing. Their vision is to train pastors, and and then that person gets there and they get frustrated with the church. He wants the church to do what their vision is. So all those things are important.
Mm. When you're talking about a doctrine and the important, actually, it's both points, the importance of a doctrine and vision. So I once chose a church, and I was just coming out of a church that had a way of thinking that I didn't believe that way anymore, and I needed to come out. And at the time, I was listening to uh, other preachers online. But anyway, long story short, I joined this church, and because of the first message that I heard, I went to the pastor's office and I said, I want to join. And he's like, For real? And I said, For real, are you ready to do the work that's involved? I'm ready to do the work. He'd been preaching on evangelizing. That got me excited because that was my heart. I felt like the church is no longer going. Anyways, I get in, and then I felt like the message changed entirely because every week the message was about, ironically, it was about prosperity. And the reason why I talk about prosperity is I have seen that a lot of believers, we it's like we live a natural life, but somehow we we don't live a life where we plan for the natural life that we live. We expect it to happen just like that. So we don't prepare for it. And so, which is making me want to be more practical about preparing for the natural life. We're so spiritual that we forget to be natural. But yes, and this pastor, as I got to know him and why he was preaching prosperity as well, is because he was broken over the state of Africans and he wanted to see Africans doing well. But each week I struggled in the church because it seemed like he was preaching about doing well every week.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, yeah, okay. Point number one, doctrine and vision. Is there anything else? What about the style of the church?
Yeah, all that comes in play once the doctrine is right, and once the vision is right, and then there are certain things that we overlook, and it's like style also. And it's not like any style is wrong. I always tell people church it's like a heartbeat. It's like a home group. It's like a heartbeat. It's like connecting with families. It's like a heartbeat. There are other families out there who are an amazing family and amazing people, believers as well, but we just don't connect because the heartbeat is different. The way they do things is different. It doesn't mean different is wrong. It's just not. It's not your style. It's not your heartbeat that you can walk with at that pace. And those things are important. If you ignore those things, you begin to get frustrated. For me, I always look at there's a scripture that talks about do not be unequally yoked with non-believers. But for me, I can even take it further that do not be unequally yoked with people that you don't have the same vision with. Do not be equally yoked with same people who they have a different heartbeat, maybe style of worship, style of preaching, because every time, instead of you being blessed in the service, you'll be always criticizing. And then thirdly, submission. That's very important. When you look at a church, when you're picking a church, you need to pick a church that you can submit under that leadership, because you don't want to be a strive. You don't want to be a person who's hard to shepherd because you struggle to submit under that same leader, under that leadership. So those things are very important. Where you look at a doctrine, you look at the vision. Can you submit under that same leadership? Those things are important. I don't know whether I forgot anything.
When you were talking about church as a heartbeat, I think it's very important, whether it's a church or a home group, actually, it's important sometimes to consider this. A lot of people choose a home group by location, and a lot of pastors encourage people to go to a home group that's in their location. In the same way, a lot of people choose a church based on location. But if it doesn't connect with your heart, it's going to be a struggle for you to be there. And so you don't want to choose a church on the basis that, and this is the nearest church to my house. It can be practical for maybe someone who doesn't have transport, that it's impractical for you to go too far out. But if you've got transport, choose a church that connects with your heart, not one that is in your location. And I feel like for us, for instance, living in the rurals, we find that a lot of churches, you find that the pastors, they mimic a lot of the American prosperity church. And a lot of times it's more the outward show,
yes,
but
yes.
not the content, not the doctrine. And so for us, we didn't find a heart that we could connect with in our area.
Yeah.
And that's why we are part of a church. in the city.
Yes, and I mean those things, those I wouldn't want to even say small things. I used to call small things every time in the previous church where we were at, but they became big things. You know, it's the little east. It's the little east that elevens the whole bunch, or that spoils the whole bunch. And for me, it's that little east that you need to be worried about. And then thirdly, I would say don't be quick to commit.
Yes, very important.
Very important. Don't be quick to commit. Pray about it. Ask other people. Ask other people about it. But above all, ask the Holy Spirit. There are other times where it's clear that's where the Lord wants you, and then that one is non-debatable. But in other cases, I would say don't be quick to commit. Attend a number of, like what I was saying, do not commit over one service. Do not commit over one
Yes.
service, because when things change, and the whole thing about a church, honestly, for me, there's a few things that are in play. Yes, we have looked at all those things, and depending with the level of your maturity, is you want a church where you can be a blessing in the church as well, not a burden, not a struggle with the leadership. You want a place where you can actually be a blessing in the church.
With don't commit quickly, that goes along with don't be too quick to fill that welcome card. A lot of churches will give you a card for you to give information, and it's good for a church to have a way to contact you and to follow up and to encourage you and to pray with you, whatever your needs are. But sometimes we're quick to fill in that information card. But the thing is, a lot of churches are more looking at numbers, and so sometimes they put a lot of pressure on you while you're still thinking about it and while you're still visiting other churches to figure out where you need to go. So you might want to hold back on filling the information card up until you know that you are ready to settle here and you love to connect with the leadership, and therefore you might want to put that information so that when they get in touch with you, then you have a way to get in touch with them as well.
So for me, I'll just say wisdom. Wisdom. We need wisdom. We need wisdom to when we're picking a church, and let's not be over spiritual. I think we are quick to, some of the people, we apply wisdom even picking a restaurant or picking other things more than we do when it comes to a church, really. So for me, I'll say we need to use wisdom in terms of the same wisdom we would use if you, like I said, if you want to take your child to a school, and the finances are there. It's like you want to go all in. You want to investigate and find out. And by the time you get there, it's like most of the times, by the time you get there, by the time your child gets there, it's like you know almost everything about the school. And so it should be with church. You need to know most of the things that you actually need to know, and the basics, unless you have a clear instruction from God. Otherwise, I would say let's apply wisdom in how we pick church.
So I don't want to miss this point out. I think it's very important to look at the size of church. There are some people who do very well in a big church and be able to find community in a big church, and there are other people who feel lost in a big church and they will connect easier in a small church. It's more intimate, you get to know most people, and yeah, so that's a very important point. And while I'm on that point, just as an example, there's someone who comes and they visit home church, right? But so we chose a home church as a style of church that we want to be part of. But someone visits and then they complain about why are the people so few, and why is there no vibrant worship, and why is this and why is that, and why is there no Sunday school. And
why don't we have a name for the church?
why don't we have a name for the church?
Mm.
And for whatever reason, they have come, but the style of church that they are thinking about is they're thinking about the style of a big church.
Yes.
So if you want to look at things like that, don't go into a church where you're going to be difficult and want people to adjust to what you want. Rather, go find a church that is suitable for you and your family needs.
Yes.
And and speaking of family needs, again, Sunday school versus not having Sunday school. In a home church style, you may or may not have Sunday school, and because it's small, sometimes there's fewer kids and there are different age groups.
Yes.
And they are not easy to teach together. And what it needs is that the parents get involved. Actually, the instruction of teaching children was given to the parents. The parents ought to be involved in the instructing their kids in the word, right? Up until the time they grow and they're able to receive it in the same way as the grown-ups. So you want to consider things like that. Don't just jump in. If your heart is big church, stay in a big church. If your heart is small church, stay in a small church.
No, I think that is very important.
Anyways, anything else?
No.
I think it was very clear, and I think you needed to choose a church that connects with your heart.
With your heartbeat.
So I hope this video was helpful.
Yes.
And until next time, bye.
Bye.